The NFL offseason, of course, is wide open at the current moment, and there's a lot to deep dive here. There's a lot to look into. So we're going to run through and look at everything that has happened from Frenzy Monday, Chaotic Tuesday. Of course, at the time of recording, we are up to date on everything that has happened throughout the NFL free agency, with there being about 30 some days left before the draft. With that being said, of course, we did hear the news that Fletcher Cox was actually going to be retiring this year. So, of course, big Fletcher Cox, he was a big asset for the Eagles for several years. I'm glad to see that he had a great, fulfilled NFL career. Hopefully, everything he does from here on out, wherever he may go, does bring him joy. And hopefully, if he decides to come back, maybe he'll play again with the Eagles. But with that being said, we're going to jump into some of the new landing spots for a lot of these teams and a lot of players. They've added a lot of depth, whether it be offense, defense, some special teams, because they play absolutely everywhere. Of course, this will be a two-part video. We will keep you updated from now until the draft, which is, I do believe, about 37 days from the day of recording. So, hope y'all enjoy. If there's anything we did forget, or if you're just interested in joining the football community here, well, you're more than welcome to smash that subscribe button. Make sure the bell is turned on and get those notifications rolling in. So, we started this off with Russell Wilson going to the Steelers. Did not think that it would actually happen. Russell Wilson, of course, as you know, started in Seattle, went to the Broncos, didn't have a lot going on there. There's his stats compared to, of course, his two seasons. Yes, and Seattle, he was there a little longer, done a lot more, but the interception, the touchdowns, the yards, he done okay last season in Denver, in my opinion. But the first couple of seasons he was there, he was not the Russell Wilson that we had in Seattle. But hopefully Russell Wilson can do good in Steelers Nation with the terrible towels in Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens, and hopefully the best of luck to him. We see Mac Jones actually signed with the Jaguars to be a backup. And this might just be in the indication that Trevor Lawrence is still having a little bit of injuries. I know he was injured going out of last season. So this could be just a play on that to give them some more depth on the offensive side in case there still is that situation going on into the regular season. Baker Mayfield, he got a 3-year, $100 million extension with the Buccaneers. So does not appear that the Bucs are worried about his ability. He done really good for them last year and got them into playoff contention. So great for Baker. Hopefully we can see them back there this year. Hopefully they might be able to go farther. It'd be good to see Baker Mayfield make it farther into the playoffs and maybe even possibly get him a ring if possible. Of course, with the Jaguars trade, it did get they got a 6th-round pick in return. You had the Ravens and Justin agreed to a 4-year deal, $98 million. Chris Jones, he did agree to terms with the Chiefs. He got a bump in his, I think it was a 5-year deal. So I know he was a holdout leading into the start of last season. Missed the first game, and I'm glad they got that squared away and taken care of. Jalen Johnson agreed to a 4-year, $76 million deal with the Bears. I know he was already a Bear, but it's a great extension for him, yet along to add back to that depth on the Bears side. Jerry Jeudy was traded to the Browns. So it looks like the Broncos are in complete rebuild mode at this moment. They're probably going to be using a lot of draft picks to do that this year. There's a lot of good talent coming out of this draft in the aspects of wide receivers, a few running backs, and a few decent quarterbacks. So we'll see what the Broncos decide to do moving forward. Via Rappaport and Rap Sheet, Jerry Jeudy was to the Browns for the 2024 5th and 6th round picks. So that's where that will come in handy for the Browns and Broncos this coming year. Justin Macabook got a Ravens extension. He got a 4-year deal for $98 million. The Chiefs, of course, re-signed Tranquil. Tranquil has been huge for them on defense. I did not expect them to get rid of him this year. If they did, that'd be kind of wild. He's a big force in that backfield. He got a bump for a $19 million deal with a $13 million guaranteed for 3 years, which is not bad. Tranquil deserves every bit of that as well. The Jaguars agreed to terms with Ariza Cleveland. He got a 3-year deal worth $28.5 million and $14.5 guaranteed. The Saints extended Tyrann Mathieu. He got a bump for a 2-year deal for $13 million. Matthew, however you want to pronounce his last name, he has been a great asset to the Saints, and to see them continue to believe that he can mold that defense and continue to be a powerhouse. Of course, we'll see with everything that they do in this offseason if they can become a big name in the NFC South. As we know, the NFC South is extremely weak in the NFL. The Colts extend Azari Franklin. They gave him a 3-year deal with $31.26 million. Hats off to Azari Franklin. He, of course, again was a big ad for the Colts. Jonnu Smith has a new home. Of course, everyone knows that he was with the Falcons last year. He did pretty good, in my opinion, with the Falcons. To see him go to the Dolphins, who got rid of a lot of their talent leading into last season on the offensive side at the tight end position, Jonnu Smith will add to that depth. He got a 2-year deal with $10 million. I think yet alone he's going to improve that offensive front. He was good in the block game and the receiving, so we'll just have to wait and see how they decide to use him. Of course, they still have Claypool, who they use as a tight end as well, so this might give them a little more depth to be able to use a big tight end for blocking, and with Claypool on the other side of the tight end running routes. Of course, in Seattle, we did get rid of Diggs. I don't know exactly what's going on in Seattle at the moment. It looks as if we're starting to do another rebuild on the defensive side. Diggs was a big asset, in my opinion. He helped a lot on that defensive side of the ball. So we'll see exactly what is in store for that to change. Mike Evans got a big add-on There is some of just Mike Evans' accolades. He joins Jerry Rice as the only other player in NFL history with 10 consecutive seasons of 1,000 plus receiving yards. So, I mean, you can see it 1,051, 1,206, 1,321, 1,000, 15, 11, 1,000, 1,011, and then another 1,000. The man has done it ever since he came into the league, and he got a 2-year deal with 52 million added to his contracts. Mike Evans is just a huge tight end, huge target for Baker Mayfield. So it's good to see him get a extension, and the Buccaneers decide to keep Mike Evans. Tony Pollard officially has a new home. Dallas has decided to part ways with him. He is actually now part of the Titans. And of course, with him going to the Titans, we all knew that Derrick Henry would have a new home. Tony Pollard got he was expected to sign. I don't know if there was a true update on what he did get with his contract when he signed with him, but we do know that was made official this week. The Colts franchise tagged Michael Pittman Jr., and they're also finalizing a deal with a extension for him. He did get a 3-year, $70 million deal with 46 guaranteed at signing. So not only did he get a franchise tag, but he did get a big bump in his contracts. Michael Pittman Jr. has been a good asset for them, and it does, of course, make sense to franchise tag him. That way, there's no issues with him trying, I guess, to leave. Brandon Graham agreed to more terms with the Eagles this week as well. He got a 1-year contract extension. Looks like the Eagles are at least wanting to keep Brandon Graham for one more year and continue to be a leader there on the defense. Dalton Schultz got a 3-year, $36 million contract extension with the Texans. Guess they liked what they seen with him. In my opinion, he done good for them on that tight end aspect as well. The Texans, of course, as we all seen, was extremely powerhouse in the playoffs. Made it to the second round. They got room to grow and improve. Dalton Schultz is an improvement for them to keep on the offensive side. And I can't wait to see what all the Texans can do from here on out and what they continue to add. Commanders signed Zach Ertz. We all know Zach Ertz was cut midway through the season with the Cardinals. So seeing him have a new home and back technically in the NFC East, even though he is not back with the Eagles, was a great thing for him. He did get a 1-year deal worth $5 million. Also, you did have Seahawks yet again releasing part of that defense. They got rid of Jamal Adams on this one. So it looks like the safety position is going to be a little thin. Hopefully we can rebound off that with some more draft picks. Jordan Poyer was released by the Bills, which was a huge loss for them. He was a Pro Bowl safety, could play corner, just powerhouse on the defense. But with that being said, with one team's loss, there's always another team to pick him up, and the Dolphins decided to add him to the already powerhouse of a defense. This will give him a little more depth on the safety backfield and being able to cover the deep threats when they go against teams like the Bills, when they go against teams like the Steelers in that AFC. Even the Ravens will have a little bit of issues now with the Dolphins with having Poyer in the backfield. The Eagles did sign Bryce Huff for a 3-year, $51 million deal. The Jaguars signed Darnell Savage. The Jaguars also picked up Gabe Davis. So that is, I do believe, 3 or 4 consecutive pickups that's going to help out the Jaguars tremendously. And also, you got the Dolphins adding the Florida Big Three teams are going to be stacked this year. Gabe Davis, of course, he didn't do as good as what everyone thought he was going to do last year in Buffalo. But I think with the Jaguars and their ability they have with Trevor Lawrence and that offense, I think he's going to do better down there. There's not as many names down there that's going to be getting targeted, I would say, on the wide receiver aspect, and this will help him hopefully have a breakout season. He did get a 3-year deal when he signed with the Jaguars as well. Raiders got a good defensive Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins. It was a 4-year deal, $110 million with $84 guaranteed. Mitch Trubisky, of course, did re-sign with the Bills. So looks like they got a backup in the case of anything that happens, because Trubisky can be reliable when needed. The Bills did get rid of Tre'Davious White. The Patriots re-signed Hunter Henry. He got a 3-year deal with the Patriots to remain in New England. The Texans signed Jeff Okudah. It is another defensive ad for them. He got a 1-year deal with $6 million. The Panthers signed Robert Hunt. As we all know, the Panthers need all the offensive line help they can get, and this was a great ad for them. Robert Hunt did help Miami have one of the best running seasons we've seen out of Miami. Of course, he was a great offensive pass protector as well. That's why we've seen so many good things happen there with Tyreek and Waddle. So good to see the adding depth to give the Panthers, hopefully, a safety net for the quarterback. The Packers did release Aaron Jones. Of course, we all know the Packers are going to be adding depth to that running field with good old Josh Jacobs. But hopefully we can find a good aspect for Aaron Jones to be added to, because he is a decent running back. He just needs to have a good, I think, a breakout year. And that can always happen when you do find a new team to play with. So just looking forward to seeing what he can do from here on out. The Bengals signed Geno Stone, the safety from the Ravens, got a $15 million deal. We're going to see if this can help the Bengals in their secondary on defense. I don't see why it would not be able to help them. They can have great room for improvement, and this will also help when they get down in the later parts of games. I think Geno will be able to close out on some areas that they failed at last year.